Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this week's session of the Pulse Live. I hope you all have had a really good weekend. I'm Maria,
This is Tim.
and it was definitely another interesting week. We're still seeing some of that volatility. Tim, I know you had a good week as well.
Yeah, and I can't wait for ER week. This is going to be a huge week for the market. This is actually probably going to start making or breaking our quarter going forward, as far as how whether the market stays flat, up, down, etc. 10-year has me concerned. I think everybody's a little concerned about it. Other than that, can't wait for these ERs.
Sure, absolutely. So let's take a look and see what happened last week. So last week, the market notched its second consecutive weekly advance despite losses on Thursday and Friday. The week started off on a positive note after the US-led strike on Syria last weekend. The market continued up on Tuesday and Wednesday as traders turned their attention to the earnings front. At the end of the week, surging bond yields spooked investors as the 10-year Treasury yield rose to a nearly four-year high. A slump in Apple on concerns over weak iPhone sales also weighed on the broader market. Friday's selling was broad-based, with 10 of the 11 S&P sectors finishing in the red. Technology and consumer staples were the worst-performing sectors, while financials finished at the top of the sector standings with a slim gain. The major averages finished a step above their session lows, thanks to a late-day mini rally. For the week, the S&P 500 added 0.5%, the Dow added 0.4%, and the Nasdaq added 0.6%. 7 S&P sectors finished with weekly gains, while 4 finished with losses. The energy group was the top performer, while consumer staples was the worst performer by a large margin, extending its 2018 losses to 11.8%. Crude ended the week at nearly 3.5-year highs on expectations that oil markets are nearing rebalancing after OPEC and its allies' compliance rose to the highest ever. Gold snapped a 2-week winning streak Friday as safe haven demand faded amid easing geopolitical concerns, while continued dollar strength weighed on sentiment. Despite the bearish week for gold prices, traders appeared to resume their bets for an upward move in the precious metal. The dollar swung to a weekly win from a loss the previous week against its rivals, supported by surging bond yields and a slump in sterling. The 10-year Treasury yield jumped above the key 2.9% level as traders bet that inflation would continue to make modest strides and that U.S. economic growth would remain solid. So let's move on to some of the more fun stuff. What do you have for us, Tim?
Oh, one of them I wanted to look at first was eBio. Pretty good day Friday. And that one we've been talking about for some time now, actually. Looks like I had a move after hours as well. A little bit.
It did.
About this one for a while, so this one just keeps going. Was there any news Thursday or Friday with this? Or is this just continuation?
I think it's just continuation. I don't have any news since April the 12th.
Interesting. Definitely keep an eye on eBio. It's one of our favorites. EYEG, cheaper stock. We don't normally look at these as heavily, but it just had a really pretty chart, so I wanted to throw it in there because I'm like, wow, that's actually an impressive chart. And we've talked about this one a little bit here and there. So this one as well, a little after hours move on Friday. So definitely want to keep our eyes on EYEG.
And this one actually had last week they had an offering previously, and they completed that offering on the 17th, which was, I believe, what was that, Tuesday? Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. VLRX. Let's look at VLRX.
So here's the week on it, and let's go out a little bit further. Maybe look at here's the 20-day on it. There was a little bit of news. They had a partnership. Let's see if I can get that for you. So they announced that they entered into an agreement with Gluco. So here was the news for them. Definitely made a move on Friday, and I think it has a good chance to continue.
One last one, ENPH. We've been talking about this one a little bit lately too. That's all I've got on low float stocks.
And we talked about this last week too. This is one of the ones that we went over. Really nice day on Friday. Nice continuation. Nice move, closed at the highs. Really nice.
Yeah, I think we talked about this one Tuesday and Thursday last week to watch. So nice continuation on that one. That's all the low floats I've got, Maria.
Perfect. Let's go back and talk about what's going on next week. The coming week marks the busiest one of the first quarter earnings season, with many big name tech stocks set to report in the days ahead. Traders also have their eyes on interest rates to see if the 10-year Treasury yield will hit the 3% mark. If yields continue to break out, that could weigh heavily on equities. Attention will also be given to monetary policy with meetings from both the ECB and the Bank of Japan. The consensus is that it is highly unlikely that either will rock the boat policy-wise, but definitely still two major events to keep an eye on. GDP reports will also be in focus, with preliminary readings for the first 3 months of 2018 expected out of both the US and the UK. Geopolitics and trade talk will also likely keep investors on their toes this week.
So,
Now,
another one last week, Maria, we had the good earnings from Netflix, and it really set the tone. Really, Tuesday, Monday we did pretty well because Syria was behind us. Tuesday we had, or Monday night we had ER from Netflix. Netflix, I actually think has a good shot if the 10-year calms down, earnings come out good. I think Netflix will be one to keep an eye on for next week as well.
I like it.
And and I actually thought Square for the weird days we had Thursday and Friday. They weren't drastically down days or anything, but just little elbow scrapes. I really thought Square had a good week.
It did. Here's the
And
week on Square. Definitely had a good week. Let me take that chart out a little bit further so that you guys have a better idea of what we're looking at. So I have a line at 53.22, plus or minus a little bit. So that's where I'm looking for this to break through.
they got AR in a couple of weeks, so this one's actually hanging in there pretty well. I was just very impressed with that last week. Like I say, Thursday and Friday were kind of off days. Twitter, had a couple upgrades last week as well. Twitter hung in there pretty well. Now, again, it had a couple upgrades, but Twitter, I thought, for the run it's had and the way the market acted, could have easily went down a little bit and everybody would have still been bullish on it. So I really thought that hung in there pretty well as well.
I agree. So, and this is the weekly on Twitter. Let's go out to a 3 month. So for the 3 month, we're looking, or on a 3 month chart, the next level that we want to kind of keep an eye on is around 30. It's 33.42 is where I have my line. So plus or minus a little bit. I think that will probably hit some resistance through there.
They have ER next week as well. Twitter is on what, Thursday? They have earnings on the 25th, so Wednesday for Twitter.
Perfect.
So, and Visa has ER next week as well. Let me pull that up. That's one I'm surprised didn't hit a 52-week high beforehand. They also have earnings after the bell on Wednesday. So Visa, let's extend that out to 20 days.
Here's the 20-day on Visa. And then let me show you a 3 month. Here's 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. So that 125 is a little bugaboo there. We bumped up against it a couple times, I guess, this week. And that one I'm surprised didn't actually go through. American Express actually had a pretty good ER, really good ER. So really thought this would carry on too. So watch it if it gets above 125, and they do have earnings, like I say, Wednesday after the bell. Also wanted to pull up Microsoft, which is also earnings next week. Still been a lot of flow in Microsoft, but you get a lot of flow going into ERs anyway. But this has been getting flow for months. So they report Thursday after the bell.
Here's the weekly on Microsoft, and then going out to 3 months. Here's the 3 months. It's kind of sitting right at that support area. Really want it to stay above this 90, give or take around 95-ish. I like Microsoft. We're still holding calls. I still have my own calls in them as well. So I still like Microsoft a lot.
One that got beat up last week and kind of screwed up chips a little bit before Taiwan Semi, LRCX. And if memory serves me correct, I've got some support around 190 on LRCX.
Yep,
and
I've got mine around 192.
A little above this one. And if you like to buy stocks on pullbacks, which I hope you get them on pullbacks and not at top, this may be one you want to look out further into LR6. I didn't think the numbers were that bad. I was surprised to see it act the way it did personally. But anyway, I've got support around 190, and I am looking at that one as well. That's on my list. Also, Snap. I know that sounds crazy. This is one that's filled the gap all the way from last ER. And we started getting some flow. We didn't do our webinar last Sunday, but this was actually on the list. Earlier last week we started, or maybe the week before, we started seeing some flow in this. Not as strong as before the last quarter, but decent flow on Snap. And their ER is on, let me pull them up, on 5.1. So a little bit of time. I want to see how this does. Kramer's been talking about it too. I would like to see this above 16. Keep an eye on Snap though, going into ER. That's going to be an interesting one. GE just reported, and GE actually beat, which was surprising, but, look how much it's dropped since last quarter.
Yeah, true. Here's 6 months out. This is what it looks like on a 6 month, and then let's look at a year.
Actually, I would keep it on the 6 months.
All right, so going back to the 6 months.
Yeah, it needs to get over, 15 and a quarter? Probably
1520 to like 1550 or so, but yeah, right around there.
17 is going to be a big number. Just looking across there real quick, 17 looks pretty like some pretty serious resistance as well. Actually, maybe a little higher than 17. Yeah, maybe it's closer to 18. 17 to 18 is going to be a bugaboo. Not going to be playing it either way, to be honest with you. I was just glad they beat. I don't really have a whole lot more. Alcoa, that's another one. They had a really good ER, a lot of flow going into that ER that looked more than it was just ER related. So on a pullback, that one's on my list to get as well. Alcoa.
We actually saw some flow on it on Friday. I asked about it in the room. I did go ahead and buy some. Just again, not a huge position, nothing like that, but there was a nice little spike after hours. So we'll see what happens with it. I may end up dumping those tomorrow morning.
A lot of ERs next week. Geez, have you got the slide of ERs next week? Just to
I
show
do.
people what kind of.
Yeah, before we get to that, there was a couple I'll be keeping an eye on. Amazon is reporting this week, so I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. Don't ask me what all these lines are. I don't know. It was what I was scalping on Friday. So, yeah, definitely Amazon is one to keep an eye on. We killed it last week. On Thursday, we played it up. The room made a lot of money on that, and we're really happy. On Friday, some of us did end up shorting it. Tim, did you see that sweep that came in on Amazon late in the day on Friday?
I did. They actually made some money on that too. I thought that was.
Yeah.
I said that they either had more money than me or more balls than me or maybe both because that one was interesting. It was small,
Those were,
17K,
yeah.
but they actually made money on that. So
Those calls, those were, and it came in at like maybe 2:33 in the afternoon or
yeah,
3:33. It
it was
was really close to
2:33,
it. 2:33,
2:33 our time. So
27.
3:33 East Coast. Yeah,
Yep.
27
Right.
minutes before the bell came through, and that thing
Yeah.
jumped $6 or $7. Yeah, that
Those were
was interesting.
1527.50s, and those calls went above 100%. So definitely that was really kind of fun to watch. That's Amazon. We also have, let's see here. I've gotten a lot of DMs on Nvidia. Here's Nvidia. Let me pull up a 5-day on it. It's Nvidia. The calls that I have are I'm anticipating a run up ahead of ER. So those are the calls that I have. I do scalp it on a daily basis. In between, so 3 months out, here's where NVIDIA is sitting right here. I do want NVIDIA to stay above, I mean, ideally above 225. So that's the area of support that I would love NVIDIA to hold. Will it do that? There's no way to know, but I do anticipate some kind of run up ahead of ER. So yes, I am still holding my calls on NVIDIA, and I plan on holding those. The other one was Tesla. Let's look at Tesla on the weekly. Strong morning. We did end up shorting it in the afternoon. Some of us caught it long early morning on Friday, but really just kind of gave back, found a little bit of support around 290 or so. We'll keep an eye on this one as well. The other one that's reporting, there's a couple more. Google's reporting this week. So
That's Monday
Google,
after the bell.
Google actually looking okay. I would have loved to see
Eh,
this above 1100
There was a
on
big
Friday,
sweep
but
that came through on Google Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday, and that guy doubled his money. If he sold, he more than doubled his money the next day on Google. So that was
yeah,
interesting. So those weren't even ERs; those were weeklies that the guy was playing. So
the
that one,
1080s.
yeah, 1080s, more than doubled his money. If I'm sure he sold. But that was interesting as well.
Definitely keeping an eye on Google. We'll see how they report. I'm not really sure what to think about this coming ER, but I think it will definitely be interesting. I believe that they will be giving us some numbers that they've not given us previously or that they've not really gone into depth about. So it will be a good ER to keep an eye on. Boeing is reporting. Boeing's this week, right, Tim? Or have I lost my
Boeing is
mind?
this way. Boeing is this
Boeing is
way.
this week. Boeing, guys, it's been really, really choppy. Namish has killed it in the room, leading everyone through, intraday scalps and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun. He's definitely been killing it. I'm not holding BA through earnings. If we have movement this week, we'll continue playing it just like we've been playing it, but I don't plan on holding through ER. And most of you know that I don't like holding through ER. I rarely will hold through an ER. I'll play a run up to ER. I'll play it after ER, but there's very few tickers that I actually hold through ER. So Boeing, I will not be holding through ER. Apple got beat up, obviously, really badly. Geez, look at that. I've got a line right at 165.39. Let's look at the weekly. It hit a low of 165.43 and kind of bounced there. Holding that level of support temporarily. Let's see what it does this week. I don't know if that level is going to hold. We will definitely keep an eye on that one. Netflix we talked about. AMD. Let's look at AMD. AMD is also this week. So AMD is currently, this is $9.99. Let's get its 3 month. On a 3 month, we have a little bit of support right around this area. Again, it's not one I'm going to hold all of my position through ER. I do have some further dated, like longer dated calls. It's like the longest dated calls I have. Actually, I'm sorry, Thor is the longest dated calls I have. But AMD, I have some out to July. So I may hold a little bit of that and then sell it right after the ER. AMD will definitely be keeping an eye on as well. And then Facebook. Facebook, I got some DMs on. Facebook, I'm not holding through ER. And let's look at the 5-day. I don't know why I have a yellow line there, but okay.
Facebook actually held up pretty well for the week too, for Thursday and Friday.
It did. Surprisingly,
run up.
it was green, or didn't it? It ended green on Thursday.
So I actually anticipated that one to pull back more. There was a lot of flow into Facebook. How much was ER related is hard to say, but there was a lot of flow on Facebook.
Yeah, there was. I think even have the white ones filtered
out. They report
out,
Wednesday after the bell too.
So Facebook will definitely be keeping an eye on as well. Hopefully, Duck doesn't talk too much on the earnings call. At least that's what we're hoping for. Okay, so those are the major ones that I'm keeping an eye on for the week. Let's go and actually look at the calendar. First the economic calendar. This week on Monday, we have the Chicago Fed National Activity Market Manufacturing PMI, Market Services PMI, Existing Home Sales. Tuesday, we have consumer CCI, so Consumer Confidence Index, new home sales. Nothing on Wednesday. Thursday, we have, again, weekly jobless claims. We have durable goods, core capital equipment orders, advanced trading goods. Friday, we have GDP for Q1, employment cost index for Q1, and consumer sentiment index for April. We do have a lot of different items on the economic calendar for next week. And then earnings, yay! And this is not even all of them. There's actually a lot more.
That's probably 10% of them, right?
Yeah.
It's the biggest reporting week. So, Halliburton Monday, Kimberly Clark, which none of us are going to be playing, let's be honest, but big name. But after the bell, Whirlpool, Alphabet, geez, that's going to start getting interesting. Ameritrade, Chicago Bridge and Iron, CBI, right? Tuesday, we really start having a fun morning. 3M, that's when we play Win before the bell. We've been a lot of people have killed it in Win lately. I actually didn't participate, but I know a lot of people did, and that had a lot of flow recently too. Caterpillar, we all play in the room, so that one we're going to be keeping an eye on. Coca-Cola, I know a few people that do play that. United Technologies, Maria, we played that one recently. Harley Davidson, Texas Instruments, though, after the bell Tuesday, we all play that one. I think Tech Money's a big one on that one. Irobot, we've had some weird activity on in the last couple of reports. Cree, Hawaiian Airlines will play. Teradyne
Hawaiian Airlines is fun. We have to watch Hawaiian Airlines.
Fun. Yeah. Wednesday morning, Boeing. Twitter, when did Twitter, they've got Twitter before the bell. I have never seen Twitter report before the bell in my life.
Let me see if I can look on the calendar.
Unless I've got this way wrong. I always thought they reported after the bell.
Twitter normally, I thought they report after the bell too.
After the bell, Facebook, AMD, Visa, PayPal. Yeah.
NASDAQ calendar says Twitter is pre-market.
They must have changed that somewhere. Maybe they did that last quarter. I don't remember. They used to report after the bell. I don't know. But yeah, look at the Wednesday afternoon though. AMD, Facebook, Visa, PayPal, which we haven't talked about. One of our favorites going into ER. Qualcomm, I don't really like that much. Align, you love that one. eBay, a lot of upgrades and stuff. Chipotle, that one's going to be fun.
AT&T and Ford.
Yeah. Thursday, ABBV, which I love ABBV, except recently they broke my heart. Still kind of like them as a side chick. UPS, Raytheon. I know we've got a lot of people that play that. Southwest Love. You got Domino's. After the bell Thursday, this is where it's going to be really fun. This is where we'll start playing Qs. Actually, we'll probably play Qs Wednesday after the bell too as a hold, one way or another. But Thursday for sure, Amazon, Microsoft, Intel, which we own Microsoft and Intel currently. You got Cypress. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting day. Western Digital. So that's going to be fun. Then Friday morning, oil, Chevron, COP. So Phillips 66, Dominion, a lot of Cabot oil. So it's going to be a really, really big week on ER. So this is going to set the tone for the next couple months. I think we'll be set this week.
Yeah. And also, we have most of the defense stocks this week too. So on Wednesday, along with Boeing, we have NOC, we have General Dynamics as well. And then on Friday is Rockwell Collins. So definitely the defense sector, Rockwell Automation also. So we have quite a few this week that we'll be watching.
Oh, and PayPal, we do currently have PayPal's 80s for May. We'll probably sell before the ER, not 100% on it, but more than likely we will sell that before the ER. We'll see how they do.
All
Big
right.
week on ERs, guys. This is, and I say this every quarter, and everybody's probably tired of it by now. But as a day trader, we trade every day the market's open, obviously, but you have that 1 month that makes your quarter, and this is that month. The other 2 months you're still trading just as hard, but your gains, your biggest gains, generally come from this 1 month. That's where I make my nut, and the rest of it is just gravy. Attempts to make my nut. I'm not perfect by any means, but that's the goal. The ER month, you just kill it, and you just cruise through the rest, getting ready for the next one.
All right. Next week, we do have a couple of conferences. The first is CinemaCon. This is one of the biggest yearly gatherings in the motion picture industry and will be taking place from April 23rd through the 26th in Vegas. Executives from these companies are due to present or preview films. So AMC, CNK, Disney, Time Warner, Sony, Paramount, so VIA, 20th Century Fox. All of those definitely going to keep an eye on. Not sure if they'll move at all, but I like to keep an eye on the conferences and just in case they move. So a lot of times those are some decent moves. And the second conference is the American Academy of Neurology. They will be holding a meeting all week in LA with all of these companies scheduled to present. So IONS, Roche, which is over the counter, ALDR, PTCT, ALKS, and Biogen, BIIB, who also does have ER this week. And let's see, that is all that I had for us this week. Tim, did you have anything to add before we start taking questions?
I really didn't. Watching that 10-year is going to be interesting. What do you guys think about AMD? We own some further AMD. When it's in the nines, you're just supposed to buy it. I think Wyatt pointed that out the other day. This ER, I can't say. I really don't know this. I think this ER is going to be interesting. We will probably hold those Julys through this, or at least some of them. I don't know what to expect at AMD. Every time I think I've got my finger on AMD and I know what's up, she gets off her meds and just completely throws that off. So hard to say for me on AMD. I don't know, Maria, you may have something different than that.
No. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. I agree with you completely.
Do we have, somebody wants to know if we have to pull up a PayPal chart. Can we pull that up real quick?
Here's PayPal, and this is a yearly on PayPal.
Yeah, I don't know if we will hold that through or not. Looks like 8250 is going to be a little issue, just a little, or actually, yeah, maybe a little higher. So you got some resistance there. I think this runs into ER. We are holding. We held through Thursday and Friday. I think we bought this one Wednesday morning, if I'm not wrong. Or maybe it was Thursday morning. I can't remember. Do you still have your Visa, long-term visas? I do have some long-term visas. Actually, me and Maria have even some. I think we have some 135s for June, don't we?
I believe so.
Memory serves me correct on what we have. I probably will hold those through. I'm surprised the Visa isn't higher. I thought last quarter was pretty good. So I actually like Visa long term. So I probably will hold Visa through ER, although I didn't get the results I wanted to last time. Did you guys buy Walmart's for January? We haven't yet. Sorry, Maria, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let me finish that question. We did not get in those. I've got some longer-term Walmarts. We are looking at longer-term for our joint portfolio as well. I actually like Walmart here. I think it was way overdone, so we will keep Walmart. Walmart is on the list to buy.
Absolutely. I see a question from Dawn, are you still holding AMRS? Yes, we are still holding AMRS. We're still holding those. We have till September, so we're going to continue to hold those. I know that it's down just a little bit. We are red on those, but that's okay. We're going to keep holding.
Yep. I like Amy long term. And we don't have just a fuck ton in these things anyway. I think we got a couple $100 in here, maybe less than 500. But I do like Amy long term. It's one of those. Me and Marie was talking about reverse split stocks the other day. One of the very few stocks that's actually pulled a reverse and held it together. Normally, you get GVOD where there's 10 reverse splits, or RGSEs, or dry ships where there's 30 reverse splits. Amy's actually really the only one I've seen lately that has not went down that same path of just fucking everybody. So no,
Yeah,
we like Amy long term. We've
I
got some
see a
people in the
couple.
room that's got a lot of AMRS, some real big
Yeah.
bulls in there.
I see another question from John. Can you look at Acre, AKER? Acre under 75 is a no touch for me. I don't like it under that 75. Let me stand out so you can see what it looks like. Maybe I gotta go 3 months. The 75 was the line for me. After it broke underneath that, I remember we talked about it on one of the webinars too. Under that, is there support under there? Yeah, absolutely. There's some support there, and we'll go over that here in just a second. So right now, if you
It
are,
looks like 50 is decent support on Acre.
yeah,
And actually, if you like Acre longer term, you might take a shot right here. And if it broke, say that 45 mark or that 40 mark, 40 would be my line. If I bought it here, 40 would be my exit. If I bought it here, but yeah, actually I might take a shot here. I don't think it's that
it
bad of a
doesn't look
spot
bad.
for a shot.
No, it's not.
But
It's really not.
if it broke 40, I'd be out. What is that current price, Maria? I'm having a hard time seeing that.
Currently,
55.
it's at 55, correct?
Yeah. You've got some support at 50 for sure. And if it broke 50, honestly, I would probably cut it myself. I wouldn't wait till 40. Actually, if it broke 50, I might take a shot at this one myself, actually.
It doesn't look bad. I mean, it is forming that base. I was pretty set on that 75. I didn't want it under there.
Well, but the
But that was,
75
again,
was
that's
a
just me
cut.
personally. Yeah,
With the 75 was just a cut. I mean, you can always find it, just like Apple or anything else. 170 was the cut mark on Apple. So, you find a new base and you take a shot again if you like it.
absolutely.
But 75 was our old support. That once that broke, it was bail time. So down here at 55 might be worth a shot. Got a big following. They broke a lot of people's hearts on that recent ER.
Yeah, they did. They got hit pretty hard then.
Do you guys trade futures? Actually, it's been a long time. Me and Maria have been tossing around, going ahead and opening up a futures account. I'd like to fool with them again. I think it would be fun. So that may be something we're talking about a whole lot more in the future, as about futures. So circle back with that question again next week as well, because I know me and Maria are going to be talking about that as well, and Black Box also. So yeah, let's circle back on that question.
I see another question on Gurn. Can you look at Gurn? Sure. So Gurn, I really wanted Gurn to do really well. It still doesn't look horrible.
I
Here's a
like
three
that.
month. Here's a 3 month on it. It actually is, I had a level of support at 368 and change, or 368-ish. It kind of bounced off of there, so you could potentially play it up. You've got a little bit of room to play it. I would be very careful with it. As with any other stock, it's not just Gurn, it's not Acre, it's not Amazon or Apple. It's just with everything, always just be careful when you're in a trade.
And with Gurn, if it broke 325, or it may be 320, 320 to 325 would be my exit, would be my stop.
Yeah.
And I would probably put it at 320 just because it's less than that whole number. So around 320 is probably, but that 325 looks like you got some support there. But if it broke that 320, that would be my exit on that. Somebody wants us to look at ECYT. I actually like this one a lot. Maria, go ahead and pull that up. I like it longer term. I like Gurn's story.
ECYT. Here you go.
I still like it. You're going to have some support. You've got a lot of support at 8, some at 9, obviously, a little above 9. 8, you've got really, really not really strong support across there at 8. But you got, like I say, 9, 9.25. I would like to see this get back through 10 again, just because I like it over 10. And then, keep it over 10. But there is a couple funds in that one that we had read about couple months ago. So yeah, I would keep my eye on ECYT. I kind of like it.
Lawson has a question on OLED. I love OLED, but it is getting the shit kicked out of it, isn't it? Shit, let's look at this. Here's 1 year on it. Jeez. I mean, I knew it wasn't doing well, but I did not realize it was this low. Interestingly enough.
Can we get a longer term chart?
Sure. So on the one
That's I
year,
like where it's at right there. Yeah, I like where it's at on the 1 year.
and that is, if it holds this, that is actually a gap fill. So if you look all the way to the left of the screen, there's a gap there. That gap is filled. Ooh, I would really, really like for it to hold this 9202, but let's look a little bit further out. Yeah, that's where I'd want it to hold.
Yeah, I would say that I would agree with you right here, Maria. That would be my OLED line for sure.
So OLED, I like it. I think that they're probably getting hammered a little bit more with all the Apple stuff too. Definitely keep an eye on it. Could it turn around and go up from here? It could, but I think that if it continues to see, or if we continue to see negative news on Apple, that OLED could hurt some more.
What do you guys think about oil prices this week? Me and Maria actually talked about this before the webinar. We had massive sweeps in Devon Energy. ConocoPhillips has been getting a ton of flow. This is probably why you're asking. My problem is a lot of this flow coming in here still at the top for where we've been at for however long. That's my only concern. Can it keep going? Yes, the flow is still coming in. Like I say, Devon had just fucking monstrous flow this week. I don't know. That seems to be Donald Trump's next crusade against OPEC. I think they want 80 or 100. He was bitching about it, so he's going to have something to gripe about, and that looks like his newest thing. He's looks like he's laid off the China tariffs. Looks like he's laid off Amazon and the U.S. mail. Now it looks like he's on oil. So fuck, who knows? We actually own a couple of those. We've got a little Devon. I think we've got a little Comp, but we're not overweight by any means on it. So it's going to be interesting. It could keep going. It does concern me that that's his new pet peeve. And I
Yeah.
think that probably slowed it down just a little bit. Not that Donald Trump controls the markets by any means, but it's just a sentiment, make you think, pause moment anyway. So, like I say, not that he controls the oil market by any means, but I don't know. It's still seeing. I don't know if these people are chasing the top on oil or if it's just getting going. And we're a little confused by it ourselves. So I'm going to watch it this week, and let's circle back on that one again next week as well.
The other thing is they may just be playing a run up. Like I don't know about Devon, but on COP, XOM, CVX, those three, they're all reporting on Friday. I do know
Mm-hmm.
that on Tuesday and Wednesday, there will be fresh data on U.S. commercial crude inventories. Then you have your Wednesday, Thursday oil reports. So I think that this week we'll see a lot of, I think this week will give us a clear
I think we'll get
direction
a better
on the price,
direction. Right.
right?
Right.
Because the thing that I'm looking at is oil is the price of oil is very sensitive. It moves very quickly on, a sneeze. Someone overseas will sneeze and oil goes one way or the other. So considering the fact that we just hit multi-year high, so like a 3.5 year high, to see a pullback would not surprise me.
Wouldn't
But
shock me at all.
we do have oil ERs this week. We have some of the bigger ones are this week. And I think that those reports that come out this week will really give us a better indication of what we can look for as far as oil is concerned. I know
John wants
also
to
that
know.
OPEC, sorry, really quickly, I know that in June, OPEC will meet to decide whether they're going to extend the production cut agreement. So that's also a big event. So there's a lot of different events that are between now and June that could affect the price of oil.
John wants to know what percentage of our trades or our stocks. I'm sorry, options versus low floats. There's times, and it may happen in 2 weeks, where I may just trade strictly low floats for a while. Then I may trade all options for a while. I do mix it up. I can't, I will trade both. Maria will trade both. I probably trade the low floats a little bit more than she does at this point. But we still go through phases. Right now, penny stocks, we've got the old thing. The hotter it is outside, the colder penny stocks are, and the colder it is outside, the hotter penny stocks are. So wouldn't surprise me to see them. I didn't see a lot of big movers this week on penny stocks, low floats. So it's percentage-wise, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It's one thing I do love about options, though. There's always something to trade, and we've said it a million times. I can trade Apple or Nvidia or Amazon cheaper than you can trade half those low floats. So it's like trading pennies year round if you trade in options, right?
Yeah. I see a question on the Qs. What do you think about the Qs? So obviously on Friday, the Qs got beat up pretty bad. Here's your one day on the Qs. We definitely did play it. Longer term, I'm looking for a turnaround right here, and that's exactly where it flashed down to. So I need it to hold 161 and change, let's say 161.50-ish, plus or minus a quarter or so, is where I'd really like to see it continue to hold. I think that this week with the earnings, especially if those earnings come out positive and the market likes those earnings, I think that the Qs could turn around and actually make that next leg up. So it's really a big week.
It's really a big week. It's one of those things that if everybody comes out from Google all the way through Amazon and Microsoft, if everybody reports strong, we could see all-time highs in the Qs in the next 10 days or 2 weeks, month. You can see them quicker than that. But if they sunk, and this week's going to give us a big clear direction on a lot of things, not just oil, but tech, everything. We're going to get a lot of direction this week, which I think the market needs. We don't like uncertainty, so I think this week will probably help with a lot of that.
Tyrone wants to know, may I ask what is your opinion on BBBY? So BBBY, here's what's interesting. Let's go back over here and let's see if we can find that.
Kind of
There was a
flow. Was it
shit
this
ton of
week,
flow.
earlier
Yeah,
in the week, or was it late
yeah.
last week? I can't remember.
No, it
Chart
was
ton
this
of
past
flow.
week. A lot of flow just came in. And let's get back to the week. It was this day on Wednesday. Look at that move. Now, BBBY, it's not one I personally want to hold for a longer period of time. If there's a news related move that we can try to get in and scalp, I'm totally okay with that. But for a longer period of time, I don't know if it's something I want to hold. Here's a 3-year chart. It's just, I mean, it kind of looks like the GE chart where I don't know if I want to I don't
Right,
know if I want to touch it.
right.
Um, so it's kind okay. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, okay, I love the fact that you can buy into the weakness and potentially catch a really nice move up, but it's like it's so far down. I mean, 3 years ago it had a high of $74.21. We're now down to $17 on the stock.
Right.
It's had
And I believe
such
in buying into weakness. I agree with you, Maria, but the problem is every time you buy into weakness on this chart, you fuck up. There's
exactly.
just more weakness. So, it's one of those things. Could it drop to 15 or 10? I mean, at this point, I don't know. I would almost rather buy a turnaround story than to try to catch the falling knife personally on this one for myself.
I agree. So here's the thing is that if you do want to buy BBBY, I would want to see confirmation of a turnaround. If you were to see it start to maybe consolidate a little bit and then try to make a move up, you might be able to play it shorter term and catch a little bit of a move. But until I see something convincing or at least something that shows me that BBBY is ready to turn around, I would be very careful with it. Does that answer your question, Tyrone?
I'm going to slaughter this one name, so I'm not even going to try it. How long do you guys hold your options? No, I'm sorry, I misread. I mean, I think this is what you're trying to say. If we're scalping, we're going to go with weeklies, okay? If we are not scalping, we will buy a lot of times 3 or 4, 6 months out, right? Like with Visa and some of those things, Microsoft's, we bought 8 and 9 months out. I'm not a real big leap guy, but we will buy out into the future. I don't like to see people buy Visa for a month, unless you're just playing an ER ramp or something. If you're just scalping the stocks, we will go weekly. But again, a lot of times we're in those for 20 minutes or an hour maybe. So there's no need to buy 3 months out or 6 months out. But if there's 100 different ways to look at it. I think that would probably be a whole webinar in itself. So that's something probably wouldn't be able to explain to you just in this. But when we're scalping, we're always going weeklies, even if we're scalping Fridays. But we will buy, a month out if you're playing into an ER. Just to sell for the ER, I'll go months out, maybe 30 days out. But as a general rule, I like to see 3 months, 4 months, maybe even 6 months out. When I'm buying some of these things longer term, I'm actually buying a story versus just a ticker. So, is this MU?
Yes, it is. I see a
Right?
question here on MU. I thought I'd get the chart ready
Yeah.
while you were finishing up that question. So I do see a question here that says, are you still holding MU? Yes, I am. I'm still in MU. I've got May 5250s. So I am still in those. It is holding above 50. So I'm okay with that. If it
We actually
were
got it below
to,
50.
yeah, we bought it below 50. So we are still in. I still love MU longer term. I think that it has a lot of room to move back up, and I think it will do it. So we will. I don't know if it'll do it before our expiration. I don't, that's always the thing with options is did I give myself enough time? I don't know if I gave myself enough time this time, but I think that
Well, we were hella green in those things. We
yeah,
were hella green in those. So it's not that we didn't give ourselves enough time. And actually, we thought we were buying into the next DR when we got those, and that was just a date mistake or a quick finger mistake. We were actually buying Junes, and we ended up with Mays, but we had intended on buying June or for the next DR. Let me put it that way. We had intended on buying for the next DR. Got the date wrong.
So yeah, any other questions, guys, before we wrap up?
Yep. Let's go watch The Walking Dead in Billions. Who's ready for Billions?
I am,
Fuck yeah.
yay.
I'm ready for
Guys,
Billions.
well, thank you for joining us on your Sunday evening. If you are interested in a trial of Black Box, you can always respond in the comment. You can hit us up on Twitter, on StockTwits, and let us know, and we will get you into our trial. If you've not subscribed to our channel yet, please go ahead and do so. If you have questions or you have tickers or topics that you want us to go over or do a video on, please put those in the comments as well. Aside from that, I hope everyone has a great night. It's definitely going to be a big week. Stay green, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye.